situation. And once we see that we are able to expand those limits in line with the investment policy and the risk criteria of the fund, those limits have been expanded to continue to allow them to originate. What may happen is in that process of reviewing and expanding those limits, there could be transactions that could be delayed, right?
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Allow them to originate.
To,
That means
to create mortgages, to give the mortgages to the
Okay.
buyers, yes.
Okay.
So the options that could be, and that's one of the reasons why, we've increased the number of banks that we have on board, to 21. So there are always options, applicants are encouraged to explore as many options as possible to increase their chances of getting it quicker, right? So yes, we are constantly working with these financial institutions to ensure that they are able to continue to originate, but there's a wide variety of options available to potential home buyers.
I think it would also be important for Nigerians to know the relationship between ARM and Ministry of Finance Incorporated. Because people expect that you should disburse, but from the conversation so far, you don't disburse.
No, we don't. So ARM,
We actually have questions here asking for details how to contact you. But we'll deal with this in a bit.
Absolutely. So, and I'll take it from the top, right?
Yeah.
The fund was sponsored by the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, being an asset management company of the federal government, right? So they've been able to raise the funds from the federal government and created it in a capital markets vehicle that is removed from the direct management of the government, right? This ensures that the fund is going to be able to continue to operate irrespective of any changes in administration. And it also ensures that it has regulatory oversight of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Also to note that the fund is listed on the NGX and the units are available to trade where existing investors decide to sell their units. ARM, as fund managers, in line with the Securities and Exchange Commission rules, is positioned to handle the fund management of the fund, essentially to oversee the implementation of the strategy and ensure that the funds are deployed. ARM does not deploy capital directly, rather the funds are provided to financial institutions that are licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria for origination of mortgages. So mortgage banks, commercial banks, those are the banks that are licensed by the CBN for origination of mortgages. So ARM, in the management of that fund, provides the capital, that the monies that have been raised from MOFI and the capital market to those banks to now disburse to home buyers to buy their homes.
Fantastic. Can we have a list of those banks?
Yes, we have a very long list, 21.
21 banks.
21 banks, yes. And that comprises 10.
That's almost all the banks in Nigeria.
Well, I mean,
banks do we have?
if you consider
These are
Okay, these are
ordinary banks or mortgage banks?
mortgage banks and
Mortgage and-
commercial
oh,
banks,
okay.
a combination of mortgage. So we have 10 commercial banks and 11 mortgage banks.
Okay.
I'll just touch on a few of them
Okay.
from both categories. For the commercial banks, we have Stanbic, Access, Union, FCMB, Globus, Providus, Fidelity, Wema, Sterling, and I believe First Bank. From the mortgage banks,
No GTB,
we are still in discussions.
no Zenith.
We're finalizing with them.
Okay.
Yes. The engagements are ongoing. You
Okay.
know, it's a contractual relationship that requires that we're aligned on the legal obligations, right? So those conversations are still ongoing. And as at the end of the year, we had about either 15 or 16. And now we are 21. So, and we still have a few that we are still in discussions with, because as the fund continues to scale, more and more of those banks will be required on board, so that the options that the home buyers have is wider.
Okay.
And then for the mortgage banks, AG Mortgage Bank, Infinity, Imperial, Homebase, Happy, Living Trusts, Nigerian Police, Gateway, FHA Mortgage Bank, Prudential Mortgage Bank, and I believe Lagos Building and Investment Company.
Okay. Someone would like to know what the process is to get on board.
So it's one of two ways. One, any of the banks listed could be approached directly. You already have dedicated desks that deals with the engagement of the home buyers for the origination or the disbursement of the mortgages. Or you could go to mreif.com.ng, register as a home buyer. The platform has a list of properties that's been pre-vetted for mortgage purposes, although the banks will still conduct their due diligence, but a preliminary level of check has been done on those properties. And from that platform, the property could be selected and the application process conducted through them.
We have a question here that says, please, can I have a dedicated contact of Mreif representative? That's from Titilola. Is there a dedicated contact?
Yes, there is, and you can make that available.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We also have this one. It says, good evening. Please, are retirees pensioners eligible for the Mreif scheme?
Retirees, no, because the mortgage is typically structured to be fully repaid upon retirement. So it's typically available for those who are still in active service.
Well, we said in part one, Chico doesn't qualify. Unfortunately, I'm 60 now. I wasn't 60 when we did that show.
How many years in terms of the tenure?
Maximum tenure is 20 years, subject to retirement age.
Okay, whichever one comes first.
If it would like to, if it says, good evening, how can those of us who are not salary earners, who cannot use salaries as security to apply for it, especially those of us in the creative entertainment industry?
Okay, so another good thing about Mreif is we've been able to disburse to self-employed individuals as well. What will be required, when I say disburse, through the financial institutions, not ARM directly. But self-employed individuals have benefited from Mreif mortgages. And what is required is for the home buyers to be the self-employed individual to be able to demonstrate that their business is well structured and the income can accommodate the repayment of the mortgage. So it's possible.
I hope that answers your question. If you have a question you'd like to ask about Mreif, please don't hesitate to contact us via WhatsApp. The number again is 0704 1001 973. That's 0704 1001 973.
Okay, the other question here is there an advantage for a couple or a group over an individual in accessing this mortgage?
I wouldn't say an advantage over an individual, but applying as couples has its advantage. So in an instance where an applicant who is married does not have the income to access the 100 million, there's room for joint applications with your spouse to allow you, combining your income, allowing you to access up to the maximum of 100 million. So there's that advantage of joint applications with couples.
How about the group?
No, so it's just there has to be that that relationship.
Okay.
So it's for spouses majorly.
Any advantage for cooperatives?
The mortgages are given to individuals typically. Yeah.
Okay.
So even if a cooperative is looking to apply, right, the mortgages will still have to be disbursed to the individuals within that cooperative.
Okay.
Yeah. So the advantage that would give to the financial institutions is the cooperative could be providing additional security of repayment of the individuals of that cooperative. And we've seen a couple of transactions like that where corporate and cooperative aggregate their staff, they identify a property, and they apply, en masse into that property. But like I said, the ultimate beneficiaries of the mortgages will still be the individuals.
Okay. There's an aspect of this program that supports developers.
Yes,
Would you
that's
like
the
to tell
guarantee.
us more about that?
Yeah, I'll take it from the perspective of the challenge that the guarantee is looking to address. If you look at the challenge developers typically face, right, it centers around getting that capital to be able to complete the properties. What they typically do is they sell off plan, selling in bits and pieces, collecting the funds, in trinkles as it comes. The challenge with that is because of that inconsistent cash flow, they are unable to meet up with the delivery of those properties, or they get stuck, dollar FX fluctuations, anything happens, and then they are unable to deliver and they are stuck. Then it's time for crisis. So the guarantee was created as a framework to enable developers be able to access construction finance, which they typically struggle to get because they are unable to demonstrate bulk offtake in most instances, right? Where the developer accesses the offtake guarantee, they are able to take it as an additional layer of security to the bank to say, Mreif is going to offtake housing units upon completion. I want to access construction finance to be able to build. And once they finish building and they've not sold sufficient units, Mreif can step in to provide guarantees and even mortgages where they sell to home buyers. What that does is it relieves the developer of the pressure of selling in bits. They get that fund, they're able to lock in prices. So it will, in the long run, we envisage that it's going to help stabilize that volatility that developers face. And it could, to an extent, also impact the lending interest rates from financial institutions from construction, and also hopefully stabilize property prices also.
We have an important question. Important in my opinion. It says, what happens if someone defaults on repayment?
Of course, with any loan, there's always some level of remedy left open to the individual to use to address it. Defaults could come in different forms. So let's say the individual loses their job. One of the requirements to creating mortgages in Nigeria is that there's insurance in place. And good enough, there are insurance products that covers job loss. So if in the event where you lose your job, to the extent that that insurance is in place, there's the insurance could cover your payments up to a certain period, say 12 months or 24 months, depending on the policy, giving room for the individual to get another source of income and then continue the repayments.
Okay. You made mention of valid title at the beginning of our conversation. Do you want to speak more to that?
Yes, valid title is essentially anything that shows the ownership, where the ownership of the property lies. So it could be a certificate of occupancy, it could be a registered deed of assignment. In Lagos, they typically call it governor's consent, or a deed of sublease. Provided that the title is registered, it should be acceptable by the financial institutions.
Okay, but in some location in Nigeria, there seems to be challenge around title, valid title. What sort of titles are these that are not accepted in this program?
So ultimately, like we've said, the mortgages are originated through the financial institutions.
Okay.
And the titles vary per location, right? Yeah. And to that extent, some financial institutions, avoid certain states due to the peculiarities of those titles. Some banks are able to navigate the challenges of titles across those states. So that's also why there's a variety of banks, mostly the commercial banks, right? I'll give a specific example, and I'll use Abuja and Nasarawa, right?
Okay.
In Abuja, first you will get a right of occupancy. Most especially developers, the land registry will give a right of occupancy. And then when they build, they are now able to issue certificate of occupancy to the individual buyers they sell to, right? And in Nasarawa, okay, so still sticking to Abuja, to be able to create or originate a mortgage in Abuja, you can't on a right of occupancy. You can only do it on a certificate of occupancy. In Nasarawa State, it is different. You can get a right of occupancy and a mortgage can be created on the right of occupancy. So the title situation varies per state, right? So it's left for the financial institutions based on
To apply their risk framework.
their risk framework to see which states they can accommodate and whatnot.
Yeah. All right, let's say so. It says, good evening. Could this be available for employees that have not more than 10 years to retire?
Yes. I mean, 10 years, provided the income of the applicant is sufficient to cover the repayment of the loan. 10 years is sufficient time to take.
All right, we have loads of questions asking similar questions to this. Please, what's the name of the mortgage company? We're discussing Mreif. He wants the name and website and email. I need to make contact with them directly. Do keep listening up. We'll give out those details at the end of the show, so keep a pen handy. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, so this is Ministry of Finance Real Estate.
Ministry of Finance
Incorporated Real Estate Investment Fund. All right. Any other question for us?
No, it's about details.
Okay, do you want to drop the details?
Let's these details.
Yeah, so I mean, you can start off with visiting the Mreif portal to initiate the application process, mreif.com.ng, and you can also send an email to info@mreif.com.ng.
Do you want to take that again?
So you can visit mreif.com.ng.
Yep.
Right, or send an email to info@mreif.com.ng.
Mreif is MREIF, not
Correct.
V. Someone sent in V. I'm looking at the website. It says, be the next to buy your house with Mreif. Mreif is here to make owning your home a reality, offering affordable mortgages of up to 20 years at a fixed interest rate of just 9.75 per annum. 9.75%
Yeah.
per annum.
Per annum, yeah. It started at 12, but
Yes,
the initiative listened to the market and it was revised
to make it more affordable.
to make it more affordable.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And like you said, next page goes more banks on board to expand the reach of Mreif. So as you said,
Yeah.
there are more and more banks coming on board with this initiative. So we've got time for on today's show.
Yeah.
We've been discussing Mreif on the show today. This has been Wealth Management and You. It comes your way at 5:30 every Monday here on Classic FM 97.3. Our guest today has been Olubiyi Adekunbi, that has been answering your questions on Mreif.
That's
Kind of
correct.
right?
There's a current discussion in town which is about Dangote Refinery listing IPO. We will be looking into that when the details are clearer, maybe in another week or two. So stay tuned and join us next week when we bring to you another interesting topic on wealth management and you.
Thank you for joining us on today's edition of Wealth Management and You. We hope the insights shared today help you take confident steps towards building and sustaining long-term financial success. Join us again next Monday.